Hello everyone and welcome to the Doctor Who review with me, John Parker, and...
Me, Jack Caroling, and...
Me, Cody Chronotis.
Right, well, today we are reviewing episode 3 of series 11, Rosa. Great one-word title. Great. So this story takes place in 1955 in Montgomery, Alabama, and the main focus of the story is to do with Rosa Parks. It is Rosa Parks, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So, they land in 1955, mainly because I assume the TARDIS has detected that something's going to go very wrong in history, or...
It was the Archer energy, I believe.
Yeah, well actually, I think the
TARDIS... a
TARDIS...
fluctuation of Archer energy by that guy, and it was like, that's not right, so it just made it
So it just
there.
landed in the 50s and basically just let the Doctor and her friends deal with the problem.
Yeah.
So... this is set in a very interesting time period, a time period where there was it was a very rough period in history. Lots and lots of racial disputes going on, lots of hatred, and it was a very difficult time for a lot of people, and the way the story was actually executed, I thought you really felt the struggle.
Yeah.
From
it was actually a little bit
people.
cringy because of the fact that I could
Cringy?
feel it. But yeah,
I wouldn't...
in a good way, because it was like I could feel the pain. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I wouldn't call it cringy. It made me
Probably the wrong word I've used there, but
I
you know.
I was thinking more like emotional, because
yeah,
like,
emotional
wow.
and uncomfortable.
Well,
It was like, you know, because like you wish it wasn't happening, but you can see it
Yeah,
happening. It's
yeah.
very blunt. The show ended very blunt, and I liked that. It's a good thing.
Well, I assume like the uncomfortable part is where you know when she sat down on the seat, or she refused to take the back entrance, and the bus driver just giving her that really like deep, angry tone in his voice, that you know that look of hatred in his eye. You just look at these two characters and you're like, wow, you know, this is actually happening, and then you kind of get the idea that is what it was like during that time. Obviously not to that detail, because the detail during that time period was a lot more horrific than what we've than what we've actually seen in this episode. But yes, the overall story of the episode was that this intergalactic racist, I'm going to use your word there, Cody, your description.
That's what the BBC said. That is officially what the synopsis said. That the
Is it?
BBC released.
Is it actually what they've released?
Was it
Hold on,
BBC or was it another article?
Well, either way, that's exactly what this guy was. He was an intergalactic racist.
Effectively, yeah. Well, he was a prisoner, wasn't he?
Yes,
So he must have executed some other, like, I don't know, crime, or maybe something similar.
Well, they said 2,000 people.
Yeah.
He killed 2,000 people, and he got the implant, so he can't kill no one. But that doesn't stop him from actually trying to change history, which is exactly what he was doing, by literally shifting one small event that had a complete chain reaction to, you know, the world we live in today, and he wanted to try and shift that, change it, so that nothing was to, you know, nothing would happen. But of course, the Doctor and her friends managed to save the day. Now, to be fair, the villain, the bad guy, you know, I got a sense of how much hate he had, but I thought his character was weak.
Yeah, it needed to be fleshed out. We didn't see much of him at all. I mean, when it started, I was really confused, because he was knocking on the exterior, even trying to send it away using the temporal displacement gun, you know. And I'm thinking, oh, you know, how does he know about a TARDIS? How does he know all this information? Is he from the Time Agency? I was thinking all of these questions.
I thought he was a time agent, because obviously the vortex manipulator and all the gear. I thought, are you a time agent? But no, he was a Stormgate prisoner.
Yeah.
Storm Cage prisoner, sorry. Storm Cage. Not Stormgate. But yeah.
Cody?
Did you find it?
Annoyingly enough, I cannot find this.
I think it was based off on a review I saw or something.
Oh, right.
But I know I saw it.
BBC actually said it. but I can't find where the BBC actually said it.
All right, well.
Well,
no
it doesn't
worries.
matter. It's basically right. He is technically an intergalactic racist.
It is what it is. Because, you know, especially when the confrontation between him and Ryan, obviously he mentioned that. What did he say? Something about, you know, he's kind. Your kind. That was it.
Yeah.
That was it. But I don't know. The villain I thought was weak.
Yeah,
I didn't get much from him.
Yeah, no.
I will say one good point though.
Yeah.
And that is the way Mallory Blackman has written this episode is actually quite educational. For example, I didn't know. I actually found this very interesting. When Yaz got on the bus and she used the white entrance, even though she is technically, you know, coloured because I think her character's Indian, is it?
Well, I think isn't.
I'm not sure.
Well, anyway, they thought that she was Mexican, but they still let her use the white section, and I found that very interesting. I didn't think that would be the case, but apparently it is, and I found that educational because I didn't know that was, you know, I didn't. Maybe anybody else could could help out shed some light on that because I was a bit confused by that. But there you go.
Well, again, I found the majority of the story quite emotional. In a way, you know, it's just especially towards the end, you know, when he's been arrested and escorted off.
Arrested, yeah, and that music that they put on.
The look in Ryan's face, and also Graham as well, saying how much he didn't want to be part. You know, you just definitely feel something inside. It's just, you know, very deep, very moving.
But I actually said, you know, when I was watching it, one of the things I said was, I feel scared for the characters.
Mm-hmm.
I actually felt scared. I was like, when Ryan went off to do his to follow Rosa Parks, I was scared. I was like, you know, I hope he doesn't get ambushed or, you know, or something. I don't want something wrong to happen. And that was good. That meant that the episode was pulling on my on my emotions there, and that's a good thing because, you know, Doctor didn't need to do that often for the recent series. But just a random question that I've thought about actually. I know that that Graham and co all basically made it out that Britain didn't participate in such things, but was that true? Did we have the same problem?
I'm not actually sure.
I'm sure we had a similar issue, didn't we?
Not sure.
We must have done, because otherwise, I'm sure it was a global change, wasn't it?
But again, like they said, you know, what Rosa Parks did, you know, just started a whole chain reaction that not changed the world, but changed the universe. So no, that story was amazing. It was brilliant. A lot better than the last episode, I have to admit. 1,000 times better than the last one. This one was much better.
The UK was engaged in slave trade back in the mid-18th century, so we did have all that. We had the same problems basically. But I'm just looking through Wikipedia very briefly. I don't think I can read this fast enough for this review, but by the looks of it, it was a similar problem.
I don't see anything about them not being allowed to sit on buses. There is a story about them not being allowed to work on buses in Bristol.
Oh, there you go.
Which is a different point, but that was in 1963.
So that's
probably means it was happening in 1955.
Yeah,
in England.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting how a Doctor Who episode has kind of, you know, triggered these thoughts. You know,
that's the thing. I think
these questions.
That was Chibnall's plan. He wanted to make it more educational, and Mallory Blackman came in and said, "Yeah, I can do a story on Rosa Parks. That's cool."
What I like about this is originally in 1963, when they were thinking of this show, this is what it was supposed to be. Mm-hmm. What we've just seen is what Doctor Who was supposed to be nearly 54 years ago now.
Yeah.
Is it 54? whatever, 50 some odd years ago now, and it's great that they've got there. I liked the content of this episode.
I do as well. I thought
I
it was
do.
absolutely
I
amazing.
do. I do wish the villain had been a bit fleshed out a bit more.
Yeah.
I did notice the soundtrack as well in the episode. I wasn't able to focus too much on the music, but I did hear a few tracks that I found rather interesting. Particularly every time the villain showed up, the soundtrack that played when he was there was pretty iconic. But I couldn't really make out much. I wasn't focusing much on the music. I noticed that as well with this series. They've been keeping the music quite quiet during those scenes.
Yeah.
I prefer it.
Yeah, I do
Yes,
too. I do too. But I will be interested when the soundtrack is finally released, God knows when, to see what that music actually sounds like.
Probably after the series 10-1, so in about 4 years.
Yeah.
Now, one quick thing I have to point out: the interior. Still going back to the interior, because we've kind of seen a bit more now than we did in the last episode. The rotor moving.
Very old style. It looked like the old classic series movement.
Yeah, true.
I didn't like the... I noticed it was moving, but I don't like how it slowly rises, and then it's as if the mechanism that's moving it just drops off. And
Gives in, yeah.
I didn't like how sudden the drop was.
There was actually one shot as well where it was the Doctor's face, full shot. The rotor behind her wasn't moving. It was stuck.
Oh.
It stopped.
I didn't see that. I'll have to check
It was a quick cut from what I saw.
Dear.
And then I looked back and obviously it was continuing to move.
They obviously had,
a bit of an error. Bit of an error there. Also, the TARDIS materialising, the lantern's pretty weak. The brightness, it wasn't that bright.
Yeah, although it
didn't do much. It blinked after it had materialised, which to me is weird.
It did. There is a nice change that they've made to that. Actually, I did notice they've made it so the windows now are the most prominent thing.
Yeah, the first things to come in
that pop up.
Yeah. But I mean, I thought we were going back to the whole 3D style typing materialisation. This one was pretty standard, just fade in. So I don't know. A little bit disappointed by that little detail, but hey ho.
I actually have sort of related to the TARDIS. It's a technical point in the show.
Mm-hmm.
The tip of the sonic screwdriver in this episode was very obviously rotating in that one scene.
Really?
So that shows that one company
that
made it with the rotating tip was right.
I didn't see that. I'll have to look at that.
You know when she's first first at the bus depot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she unlocks the door.
Yeah.
Or she's near the door.
The padlocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The tip of the screwdriver is rotating then.
Oh. Right. I'll have to have a look at that when we're done. So yeah.
And I like that because it means that yes, it actually does have a
feature.
Yeah. Wow.
Did the British sonic screwdriver toy have the rotation feature, or was it the American one?
The character options one did not. It was the 720 version that did, which I need to get at some point because collections, yo.
Yeah.
Well, yes. But yeah, no, it was a very, very good episode. So, yeah, on that note, shall we give our verdicts?
Yep.
So, John, out of 10, what will you give this episode?
Very educational episode. Villain needs to be fleshed out more. Nice formatting though. Very emotional. Good use of music at the end.
Yeah.
So overall, I think that I will give this episode a 7.5.
Okay. Cody, what will you give the episode?
I mean, there was parts of it which I thought were really great. I like that the show has gone back to the educational standpoint that it was supposed to be when it was originally planned. I know there's mixed opinions about this at the end, but I didn't like how the end title music wasn't the title music. It was that song.
sorry, I didn't mind that. I actually thought it was quite good. It was kind of keeping with the mood, the atmosphere.
I see. I see why they did it. It's just I don't think.
Yeah,
I don't know if Doctor Who's the show to do that with.
Yeah, I totally get where you're coming from. I do. It's kind of like they are trying to slowly just like turn things around, change it a bit, make the show more like, I don't know really how to describe it, but it does feel like they're trying to push it more towards it being not what it used to be from when we started back in like 2000, the modern series back in 2005, and kind of make it more. There's a word there, but I can't find it. But yeah, no, I get what you mean, and I kind of get what they're doing as well. But yeah, sorry. So. But
like that's not a massive damper on my opinion on it, because I liked how it was a historical episode.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's probably about 7.5.
7.5?
That
okay.
That seems fair for the stuff that was good and the stuff that was bad.
No problem. Right, yeah. Well, I mean, I've found this episode quite an emotional one, and the entire theme of it was, brilliant. How much history it was showing us. I adored it. I really did, and it was really moving as well, especially to see, how they've struggled, how Rosa Parks has struggled for so long to try and make a difference, or how she's now going to be, after that time period. So, it was a really good episode. So for me, I'm going to give it an 8. Yeah, I'm going to give it an 8. So
I have just confirmed by looking at the episode on BBC iPlayer that the lamp does in fact flash at the end. That's interesting because I know this isn't related really, but in HOO's Chances they always have it flashing at the end when it lands, which I think is a classic series thing.
Possibly,
so that's cool. They've got this little fade going on at the end there.
Yeah. So yes, that is the end of our review video, guys. Do join us next week for the next review of episode 4, which from what I can tell has to do with spiders. That's going to be interesting.
I'm going to fucking hate this episode.
I know a few people are going to be like, ah!
Oh, it's going to be a freak episode. So until...
No spiders.
I hate spiders. So until next week, guys, see you soon. Take care, and bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye, guys.
Goodbye.
Thank you, folks, for watching. If you enjoyed, do please leave a like or comment below on this video.
If you want more, on Jack's side is the last video and the recommended video that we've suggested to you.
To stay tuned for more, on John's right is the link to our channel so you can subscribe, and also we have a link to our website if you want more information about who we are and what we do. Until next time,
take care, stay safe,
and remember,
let your geeks out. Bye bye, guys.